All right, good morning. Today is the 11th day of June, 2020. It's a Thursday. And we are looking at the daily chart. Everybody see my chart? Now, those of you who've been coming to the pre-market strategy sessions, for those of you who watch the afternoon broadcast live, for those of you who participate in the group discussions, in the Telegram discussion group, then what you're seeing here is absolutely no surprise at all. What I found interesting is I listened to a few minutes of CNBC while I was getting things set up to open the room. I found it interesting how yesterday every one of them was it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new world, it's different this time. We're absolutely going to the moon. Tesla prints $1,000 a share for the first time in history. But then this morning, everybody's tune has changed. Yep. We just got there. We got there too quick. Yeah, look at all that's been going on. Those high prices. That was just all so unrealistic. They just changed their tune with whatever the chart says today. And I understand you trade what's in front of you today. That's what we do. But if you've been following along, as we approach this area, let me show you again why it's an important area. Support. And right here, we had support. Following day, it was resistance. So as price wound its way back up, it's been so long since we've had a pullback to the VBC on the daily chart, way back here, that while we were due, we don't ever err into the arena of using terms like overbought, oversold, because, well, frankly, markets can remain overbought and oversold for extremely long periods of time. So we talked about the potential for a rounding top versus a V top. V bottoms, you do see, like the pandemic low. That's a V bottom. Tops are usually more of a rounding type thing, like you see here. This was all-time historic high. This was all-time historic high. And so we only had 3 days in our rounding top, but it did what we anticipated it would do, what we've talked about every day. Pre-market, on the show, in the discussion group, I've posted lots and lots of charts. If you missed those charts in the discussion group, this is no one-off thing. The concept that you learn over these past few strategy sessions, every day on the show, in the discussion group, are always applicable. Everything that I attempt to teach you is what I call evergreen, okay? It doesn't go out of style. It doesn't go out of fashion. It doesn't pertain to any one particular type of market. It's just how markets work. So anyway, as we got into this area of resistance, we said the first indication that we were headed back to the BBC would be a daily close on the S&P below blue and climbing, below the step line. And we got all of that yesterday. So I was pretty adamant last night, trying to help everyone in the discussion group kind of see this. So we've made the trip almost back to the BBC. The BBC sits at 30.91. We got a low on the session so far of 30.98.25. Our next weekly trading zone below us is actually down at 30.67/68. Now, these fibs that you see, let me shrink this up again. You can see it all. From the pandemic low, okay, this entire sell-off started with one candle. This red candle closed below the BBC. Look for lower prices. This bearish cross sealed the deal. And Someday it will be good resistance. That day could be tomorrow for all I know. I just know that when price gets there, it's going to be good resistance. Just as we knew every step of the way where to look for resistance. Only one candle threw me for a loop, this one right here. And that's not because I have some incredibly special skill set or know some magic trick. It's just reading the chart and letting the chart tell you each step of the way what it's trying to do, what its next objective is. You know, is it trying to get to the next area of resistance, or is it trying to get back to support? It's always doing one or the other. And price from where it sits right now atop the BBC is either going to attempt to break this swing high or this swing low. Okay. So now we know on the daily, and to all of you, I still haven't found my bell. To all of you that traded the big picture alerts, ding, congratulations. You should be in tall cotton this morning. Okay. So let's go look at the 30-minute on the S&P for right now. Okay, we're at an area of support. Our next area, in fact, let me get this next weekly zone on. After 29.30, it's 30.67. Now, guys, you can ask questions anytime you want. Just put them in the chat box, and I'll keep glancing back at it. Happy to answer any questions that you have. So 30.67, 30.68. Okay. Now, let's look left. All right. As price takes out, oh, you know what? I rushed past something I was about to show you. These fibs, which extend from the pandemic low, okay, to the recovery high. We've said this over and over on the show. Pull back to the BBC. That's the shallowest possible retracement. Based on Fibonacci math, 14th century, the shallowest fib, the 24% fib, is way down at 29.82. That's another 100 points below us, just to get to the shallowest possible Fibonacci retracement on the daily chart. Now, hitting the BBC, should that be good for a bounce? Oh yeah, should be good for a real nice bounce. Question is, will that bounce have enough power to send it back up to take out this high, only to run into this resistance again? Or will we get a nice bounce and then it fails? Remember, the BBC holds more often than it doesn't, but at some point it has to not hold, or else we would just have a stagnant sideways market. Okay, so we know that over here, oh, we got some potential. Well, actually, see, these wicks, when you have wicks like that, price really did go down there. It really did touch that price, but it didn't spend a lot of time there. Where the battle was fought was more right here, okay? And if you look right, you can see that highlights, follow my cursor horizontally across the screen. You can really see that that's where price is kind of consolidating. See, I had highlighted it, I anticipated it. In fact, what do we have right there? A bullish cross, right? Now, if you've missed previous strategy sessions, you should watch those videos as you have time, because I really go deep about the impact that these bullish crosses and bearish crosses that lead to extended moves, the impact they have on the market. We had one Monday morning that held the market in check all week until we finally broke free of that last night. So let's mark this area. What is it? 3087. Yeah, and then see right here this consolidation. We'll call it 3090 to be safe. Okay. So open this back up. We're going to put a little mark over here. So we know that has the potential to be support. Okay. So what do we got then? Well, from 3096 to 3091, 3096 to 3091, that's an opportunity. Now, is it possible at the open in 18 minutes, buyers come in, bid this thing back up to red and falling? That's your first place to look for resistance. After red and falling, weekly trading zone. After the weekly trading zone, the BBC. The potential for a day that has started like today or started last night to recover to the point of getting above the BBC, that would take, I don't know, like a presidential tweet maybe, or something big. And you know, anything can, number one, anything can happen. Embrace all possibilities. However, we also have an understanding of, you know, what's really possible and what's pretty much not. So let's see. Crow says, my BBC and BSL are different than yours on the daily. I'll send you a screenshot. Okay. Well, I'm on the 30-minute right now. And on the daily, yeah, these are just standard indicators with standard settings. So, you know, on your daily, make sure that you're set for the overnight session, 24 hours. Other than that, I don't know why they would be different. They're just indicators. Okay, so let me pull up. Let me go to alert number 4032. ESM20, sell 3096, target 3094, possible support 3091, weekly trading zone 3067 / 3068. Okay. And that alert is out. Number 4032. It's a pretty large sample size, 4,032 alerts. Okay. How do you set for 24 hours? Well, I don't. Come over here. And the setting is in here somewhere where you tell it what type of session. If you're just looking at the day session, session align, number of bars, time interval, time zones. I think by default it comes on the 24-hour clock. And you can tell by just running your cursor across. And if you've got candles around the clock, do that. Run your cursor across the bottom. If you've got candles for 2 a.m., 3 a.m., then you're already set on the 24-hour. But we'll work on that with you later. Okay, so price found support at the area I predefined. Okay, look what's happening. Trying to get a bounce. Okay, don't get caught up in trying to buy this market today. It just won't end well. Because all right, I got questions coming from okay. Who has any questions about this? Crow, if you can always also call Bert, 866-928-3310. he can let you know if your chart's set up for around the clock. But if you would answer my question, that will help. When you run your cursor across the bottom, can you see 2 o'clock in the morning? If so, then your daily chart is set. It's on 24 hours. Okay. So then why it's not the same, I couldn't tell you. Are you on Ninja or DT Pro? Because nothing looks right on Ninja. I don't know how you people stand that thing, but DT Pro. Okay. Yeah, I don't have time to dissect it right now, but I'll look at it later for you. All right. Before we move on from the S&P, do we have any questions? Okay. We're not going to attempt to buy this rally. We're not going to counter trend trade back up. At least I'm not. You know, of course, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. Problem with the counter trend trade is you don't know if it's going to stop here at red and falling. You don't know if it's going to stop at the WTZ or the BBC. The high probability is it's certainly going to stop at one of the three and continue with the leg to the downside. See, Wall Street folk, they have not had a chance yet to get their hands on this market. You're looking at futures traders and stock traders from the London session. The Wall Street traders have not digested this. I didn't even look at the news. I told you guys to look at the news. I saw what had happened to the markets. I didn't have to look at the news because even if it's good, it wasn't enough to save the day. Okay. 8:30 this morning. Continuing jobless claims. Looks like they came in worse than expected. Initial jobless claims came in better than expected. The PPI definitely came in better than expected. So basically, it's pretty good news. Wasn't able to support the market. Okay. The only one that came in, and it's not a high impact, was that continuing jobless claims. It came in a little worse than expected. All right, so I'm going to look back at the chat box. Okay. All right. So get a little bounce here. We're 11 minutes away from the Wall Street Open. When stock traders get their hands on this, what will they do with it? Now remember, futures are a derivative of equities. Because of the name futures, some people kind of get the impression that equities follow the futures, stocks follow the futures. No, futures are a proxy of the equities. The fact that the futures do trade on the Globex overnight session while stocks aren't. Well, Wall Street's closed, but London opens at 3 a.m. Eastern. There's a whole lot of stock traders there. So just always remember, futures follow stocks. Now, can futures get overheated, get out in front of stocks? Yeah, well, stocks have been incredibly overheated as well. Okay. Now, don't forget this very important number on the daily chart, 3092. Okay, 3092. And our weekly zone is at 67. So see, 3092, right where we drew that number. Now, we drew that little line because of something we found on the left side of the chart. Everybody with me? All right. Let's go to the Dow. Next area highlighted for support. Now, let's get a zone up here so we can get our bearings. 26865, then 26365. Somebody keeps ringing my phone and won't let it rest. Is somebody trying to call me from a 252 area code number? I can't take the call right now. I'm sorry. Okay. 26365 25775. Two five seven seven five. Okay. All right. So does that give us a window of opportunity? Why, yes, it does. See what we got back over here. All right. So based on that, look at an alert on the Dow. Alert number 4043, YMM20, sell. All right, we want to get below this area of support, 25925. Target 25905. And then, do we have any potential areas for real support? 25,840. 25,840. And then the weekly trading zone will be 25775 slash 25780. Okay. All right, and that alert is in the wind. Okay. All right, any questions on the Dow before we go? All right, let's go to the Russell. Now, when we switch rooms today, we'll probably take about a 5-10 minute break. So when Michael comes in at 9:30, I'll pass the baton to him. We'll take a 5-10 minute break, and then we'll reassemble in the smaller room. It's the go-to meeting room as opposed to the go-to webinar room. So in the go-to meeting room, it only holds a certain number of people. I forget how many. Well, maybe only be 25. But I think we can all squeeze in there. I hope so. If you get turned away, just come back in 15 minutes because somebody will drop out because they got to go to work or something like that. Okay, on the Russell, where's our next zone on the way down? We're 6061, 1416/17. That's a zone where I've got a little highlight there. 1416/17. And then the zone below that, the lowest weekly zone for the Russell, is 1300, way down here. 1300. Then on the way down, this area, okay. So alert number 40, 34. RTYM20. That would be sellers as we take out this low. So 1393 on to 1391. Possible support at 1389 and 83. Big support 1375. And the weekly trading zone. And then we've got another support area. These tops over here. So we're going to call that 1355. And then the weekly trading zone is 1300/1301. And that alert is in the win. Okay, so now let's jump to the NQ. Now the NQ has been real cute all week, running this crazy race to the upside. In fact, let's look at the daily chart of the NQ. That's the Dow. Let's go NQ. See? Now, today, if the NQ plays follow the leader, if the NQ can close below blue and climbing and below the step line, then it will begin its run back to the BBC. You notice on this pullback, we didn't even get to the BBC, but it held, and it held, and it held, and it held. You ready for the next one? Again, unless something dramatic changes, okay? Today on CNBC and these other programs, they're all talking about, oh yeah, it was all overdone. I mean, yesterday they were the biggest bulls in the world, but today everybody's got that Kramer. I told you so. Warned you. Knew it was overheated. Oh my God, it's maddening. This is why I don't listen to it too much. Mostly for comic relief. Okay. So what are we going to do on the NQ? All right, we know we're painting a red daily candle. Come on down NQ. Okay, all right, so here's an opportunity. NQ, I won't have time to alert this, 99.13 down to 99.03. See, I wouldn't have had time to even type that in. All right, so we'll let that work itself out. We've got a zone at 98.91/92. And the market's just surged. My chart's momentarily frozen. It does this every morning right at the opening bell. So Mike will be here in a second. And once he's here, I'll pass the baton to him. And then okay, there we go. All right, so below 98.91, 97.51/52. Yeah, it's going to just keep doing that for a couple minutes. There's another reason I don't issue alerts during the first 10 minutes. When there's enough volume surging through the markets to lock my charts, that's not even a market I'm interested in participating in. All right, so basically what we're doing now is we're at a holding pattern waiting on Michael. When Michael shows up, now, because that other room is smaller, I want to wait till everybody that I sent the link to last night, the people who requested first, can I come in? Absolutely. So I'm going to let everybody get logged in, and then in the discussion group channel, I'll post the link to that room. Everybody follow? If you've already got the link, go ahead and join the room. Oh, I got disconnected. That's always nice. Can I navigate the chart now? Okay. All right, so I've already got the zone down there. It's 97.51. Okay. All right, Wall Street is open. So the market is now in the hands. All right, so I guess we'll pick up with the NQ on the other side. Here's the NQ trying to catch a bounce. It's up to red and falling. Remember, that's the first place we talked about that it would potentially find resistance. If it could get through red and falling, then the weekly trading zone would be resistance. And if it can get through the weekly trading zone, then the BBC, potential resistance. Everybody understand how that works? Anybody have any questions? Because I'm getting ready to step out of here as soon as Michael shows up. I will open the other room and I'll post a note that we're on like a 10-minute break so that everybody can get logged in. And then we'll just talk our way through, probably about 30 minutes of market activity. And then you'll be able to just come back to this room, those that want to. I'm not going to do the full 2 hours in the other room, but, like a half hour or so. Or till you guys stop asking questions. If you want to keep me on my feet working, then you ask questions. When I don't see any questions, I figure you already understand what I'm talking about. And if I don't have anything left to share or help you with, as a younger man, I may have talked just to hear myself talk. But as a man of a certain age, I'm not quite as fascinated with the sound of my own voice anymore as I once was. Well, okay, well said, Mukesh. Mukesh said, well, sometimes we just don't know what to ask. Well taken. Thank you for saying that. I'm sure others might agree. So, all right, since that's out on the table, how do we break it down to a place where, how do I get you to the place where you do know what questions to ask? See, what I've done is over the years, I've tried to limit myself to certain concepts, certain words, certain statements. I don't veer from those because I figure if you hear me say the same thing again and again, you'll realize that dude's wells are not very deep. And then you'll ask questions about all the things that I've taught you, okay? So thank you for sharing that, Mukesh. That gives me something to think about. We want to ask questions, but we don't know what to ask. So let me see how I can help you with that. Did I hear you, Michael? No, Michael. Okay. No. Now, Mukesh says, well, it's not me. It's not you. It's me. Right, a little rom-com. No, I think there's a lot of validity in what you said. You see, because when I look at the charts, I see the charts through Dwayne's eyes. You see the charts through Mukesh's eyes. Tim sees it through Tim's eyes. Crow sees it through Crow's eyes, and Ray and Jake and everyone else. You see it through your lens, through your filter. Now, your lens and your filter has been developed ever since you heard about markets. Everything you've ever learned, seen, read, whether it was hope or hype, it has shaped and formed what you see when you look at a chart. My job is to not change the filter, but to help you remove the filter that you've built so that you can see the chart for what's actually there. Not what you think should be there or want to be there, but what is there. Okay. Gee, I'm not sure where Michael is. Let me send him a message. Oh, Michael said He's having trouble getting logged in. Good thing I picked up my phone and looked at it. So he'll be in here in just a second. He's having trouble getting logged in. Okay. All right. So this is the first 30 minutes of Wall Street. I wouldn't be putting out any alerts anyway, but we know what we're waiting on. This is a window of opportunity. Now, from 3096 to 3091, we know at 3092, I think we said on the daily, that's where we reached the BBC. Now that should be good for a bounce. That literally could bounce us all the way back up to this 30-minute BBC. Will it take us any higher than that? Like I said, embrace all possibilities. Is the link to your meeting sent out in an email? No, Gary. I shared it with people in the discussion group last night. Guys, we have really great discussions every night in the discussion group. We share a lot of charts. We talk about what's happening. We put on and take off trades. So if you can, now that's the discussion group is for the passport holders. So if you're not a passport holder, you really should take a look at what, if you upgrade from partner to passport, it doesn't cost you a lot, but what you get in return is pretty substantial. You get the alerts around the clock, you get to hang out in the discussion group, you get to meet a lot of nice traders, and you get to learn.
Okay, I'm finally here.
All right, you're here? Okay.
Yeah, I thought that got changed.
But you changed it back
matter.
one day for some reason.
Okay, well, here we go.
Okay, you can take the charts. Yeah, I'm going to open up the go to meeting room. A couple guys are going to come over there. We're going to go over some stuff for about a half hour, and then they'll be back in here with you. So you can have the charts, and I'll see you in a while.
Okay, that sounds great. There, you should be looking at my charts right now.
Yes, I've got to make sure that I leave the webinar and not in the webinar. Leave.
Yeah, I know.